Hey tubers, it's Ben the Curious Consumer, and today we're going to be taking a look at my Rodecaster Pro and something that I haven't been able to find on the internet. What happens when you get your memory card stuck in the memory card slot? Now this has happened to me before on a couple of my action cameras when I was a kid. And you know me, I like to take things apart and put things back together again. So for me at this point right now, I'm going to just try to take apart the Rodecaster Pro. Hopefully it'll come apart easily and I'll be able to get that memory card out. So what ends up happening is there is a little slot where your memory card goes in and it basically clicks into place. Well, there's also a little gap between the plastic, and sometimes if you're not paying attention, you're putting in your memory card from the back side without looking over the top, you could just miss the little metal part that keeps that memory card going straight into the slot and it goes over the top. That's what's happened here. So as you can see that right there, and as I started to take this thing apart, I realized, wait a minute, why not make a video and show you guys how to do this? Because I haven't been able to find one on YouTube. So this is going to be it right here. As you can see, I've already started taking apart the Rodecaster. I've got a couple of the screws on the back here, and there's a ton of screws on this thing that I've already taken out, and now I've got to take apart or take out all the other screws that are on the front. This should be kind of a long process, but I'll speed it up for you in post so you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully this goes well and comes apart pretty easily, but I am using a simple screwdriver kit that I got from Harbor Freight, and right now I'm using a T8 Torx head to get these Allen wrench screws out. You could use an Allen wrench as well, but I just don't at this moment have an Allen wrench key to be able to do that, so I'm just going to be using this Torx head. So let's get started. Let's continue through. I'm hoping I don't have to take these pads that are on the bottom off, so I'm just going to focus on the screws on top, and hopefully I can pull this thing apart. Let's get going. I don't have my typical ice tray that I usually use with me, so I'm just putting the screws off to the side. They seem to be all the standard size screws anyway, so shouldn't be too big of a deal. Oh, yep, so here's our first different screw. So you see most of the screws that are on this thing on the outer side are the big, longer screws, and then you have some shorter screws that are holding the middle part together. So let's keep those separate so we don't get confused. Okay, so the two screws here at the bottom are really long compared to the other ones. So keep those separate. Make sure you remember that the two longest screws go into these two areas here. All right, so now that I moved all those out of the way, let's see how we get this thing apart. I'm hoping I don't have to take off the foot pads on the bottom, but again, I haven't seen anything on the internet about how this works. So let's hope this goes well. I think I may just have to spudge it apart. I don't have my spudger, so we'll see what we can do. Oh, here we go. Oh, that was easy. I just literally just put my fingers around the edge here and just lifted, and the bottom, looks like the bottom of the case just comes off, but be careful of your connectors here on the back. So let's see what this looks like. And there it is. Here's the inside of your Rodecaster here. And as you can see, look what happened already. Right here, the memory card already just fell in to the inside of the Rodecaster. So that was it. That's all I had to do. And as you can see, like that little memory card just goes into a little metal housing here that makes the connection for the rest of the Rodecaster. And so that right there is what houses this to make it readable. And if you do happen to get it between, because there's a little minuscule gap, and I don't have a small enough camera to get in there, but there's a little minuscule gap between the metal and the plastic. And that's how that memory card got stuck in there. So that's pretty much it. But as you can see, it looks like there's a bunch of layers here on the inside of the Rodecaster. This is like the control board, the sliders here, and this will be all your circuitry. And of course your power supply and audio circuitry here. And that's it. That's pretty cool. And that's essentially how you take it apart. Let's just do everything in reverse and put it back together again, making sure that everything sits flush. I just set that back down on the plastic piece on the bottom. And let's screw everything back in. All right, so I'm not gonna bore you with the remainder of this. I just have to put the remaining screws on the top here, which is just basically 2 around each one of the connectors and just to hold this back piece together. But the screws technically just hold the top metal portion that has all the boards connected to an empty plate on the bottom. And if your chip ever goes through the back portion here where there's just that little gap, there's just a little gap here, you can kind of see it here. There's just a little gap between the metal and the plastic, just enough room for this card to slip right through. And if it does that, that's how you open it up. Again, you just remove all the screws and just pull up the top portion, being very careful. There's one wire that goes up from the headphone jack on the front to the back. That's connected, and you can retrieve your memory card. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the content, and I hope you found this helpful. Again, I'm Ben the Curious Consumer. Stay curious, everybody, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Was